Damien, always the first, always the first. Hi guys, hi Ifine, hi everyone. How are y'all doing? Today we want to talk about quite a few things, and I'm waiting for Instagram to pop up. Okay. Hi everyone. The topic for today is abortion, a candid discussion. A candid discussion. Hello everyone. Well, I'm recording inside my house. There's a little lounge we have upstairs, some sort of a lounge where we sit down with the kids to watch TV. And the kids love watching TV. So even though we don't allow them to watch too much TV, my boy is downstairs with his nanny. He's behaving himself for the first time. That is rare. He's gonna come and start jumping up and down now. His mom's in the room sleeping. She just came back from a trip. She had to attend to some things, so she's back and she's resting. You know. That's somebody said, "Where are the disciples?" That's right. Where's everyone? Mike Izu, Bros, Chairman. I see you here. Oh. I hail Irene, first to land. God bless you. They were saying, "Where are the disciples?" I said, "Disciples are showing up one by one." Thank you for my shirt. I actually got it from some guy. Samson, I see you. Where's Jigger? It's rare not to have Jigger. Where's Carol? Where's Fab Momo 4? Haven't seen her in a while. Where's Fab Momo 4? Mike Izu, my brother. God bless you. Okay. Flossie, there's no discrimination. Everybody is loved equally. VC, that reminds me, I haven't seen you in a while, VC. How are you doing? Well, today we're having a candid discussion. There are some things that on Sunday I thought about the big little things. Who was with us on Sunday? The big little things. I haven't seen Jigger. Somebody says, I haven't seen Jigger, I haven't seen Carol, I haven't seen Fab Mama 4, but I've seen Irene. Irene is with us on Instagram. Irene is coordinating on Instagram. Somebody says, straight to the abortion matter. Okay. I'm going to pray first and hand everything over to God. Studies, I wish you well, VCO. I see you as a very intelligent guy trying to study. The more you study, the better you are. All right, Heavenly Father, I come before you to thank you for gathering us. As we discuss today, let your spirit come upon us. Let it not be our words that are exchanged, but the words you want us to exchange. Whatever we say, let the parts of our consciousness that can be open to the advocate to receive what the advocate brought through the resurrection of Christ into our spirits, in Jesus' name. Welcome, church. On Sunday, I talked about the big little things, and I realized that, you see, as human beings, there are some things we consider very big. And because we consider those things very big, we tend to assume that God also proportions the same level of importance to those things. I don't know if I'm making sense to you. There are some things that are so important to us. And because they are so important to us, we automatically assume that they are so important to God. And I'm here to tell you that we've been taught a lot of lies all our lives simply because we do not understand God is. And not, we do not understand what God is, not because we don't want to, not because we're not trying, but because we can't. The dimension in which God operates is different from the dimension in which we are. That is why I tried to explain the third dimension and the fourth dimension the other day. You see, let's imagine we are in the second dimension. The second dimension is flat land. We are all flatheads. In the second dimension, you have length, you have breadth, but you have no height and you have no depth. Do you understand? Height doesn't exist, depth doesn't exist. All we have is length and breadth. You can be wide and you can be long, but you can't have depth or height. Now, when you bring an object like an apple that has length, has breadth, and then also has height, how do you explain that to someone in whose world height doesn't exist? The best way to explain it to that person is in relation to what that person understands. When you take a three-dimensional object and you put it in flat land, what flatheads you see is only the portion of that object that is flat and comes in contact with the flat land. So the apple, when you put the apple on the flat land, what flatheads would see is a few lines here, a few lines there, a few dots here and there. I don't know if I'm making sense to you. So is an apple really lines and dots? Because all we understand are lines and dots. Is an apple lines and dots? And it's the same way with God. God is a multi-dimensional being. Let's leave God. Demons are multi-dimensional beings. So if demons operate out of our dimension, how do we expect to understand God that created the demons? At least the Bible said Satan was kicked out of heaven. I'm having a problem with YouTube, with Instagram here. I think I might need to log out and log back in. Guys, hang on 1 second. Let me do this. Okay, sorry guys. I was using one of the iPhones and that particular one is old. So luckily for me, there's another one. So I can just... Okay. I can just go live again with this one. So just hang on guys. I don't want the Instagram people to feel left out. Somebody said, Jigga, come to church, leave Forex. Okay. Can you guys see me? I'm back. Instagram. Okay. So, like I was teaching earlier on, flatheads do not understand what height or what depth is. they interpret it according to their understanding. So they try to take an apple and describe it in lines and dots. And I want to ask you, is an apple lines and dots? The biggest problem we have as humans is because some things are important to us, we flatheads. We believe that the multidimensional God also attaches the same amount of relevance to those things. One of them is money. The way we run around and believe money solves everything, God is actually totally in the opposite. I'll give you a story, a quick joke. A rich man who God loved died. And before he died, because God loved him so much, it's a joke, and honored him so much, God sent an angel to tell him that, look, tomorrow you're going to die. So arrange your house. So when they told him that, the guy now started crying, no, I don't want to die. I have so many things. I have to take some of my things to heaven. So the angel went back to God and said, Baba, this guy doesn't want to die. He said he has so many things I want to take. God said, no. Then the guy now cried to God. He said, God, I've been your faithful servant for so long. I've done this. Allow me to at least, if I'm going to die tomorrow, bring some of my things. Now, because God loved this guy so much, God now sent the angel back and said, you know what? Tell him that I allow him to bring only one bag. So this guy now sat down and thought about it. How am I going to put everything I need in one bag? So he thought of a clever idea. He said, if I buy diamonds, they've started manufacturing diamonds now. So by the time I get to heaven, they could be manufacturing. So you know what? I'm going to sell everything and buy gold bars. So he sold everything he had and used as much of it to buy gold bars and arranged the gold bags in a bag, because it was allowed only one bag, 23 kg type of bag. Do you understand? So he filled that small size duffel bag with all the gold bars he could. Now, the gist had leaked in heaven that, you get one guy where they come heaven tomorrow, and this guy, God allow and carry bag. So all the saints, all the angels, all the people that died before that were in heaven, all of them now gathered at heaven's gate. That what is so important to this guy that they want to sit, and that God even allowed him. So this guy shows up at heaven's gate with a bag. He's allowed in. Then Angel Gabriel said, can I just please look at what you brought that is so important to you? And the guy opened the bag. And one of the saints looked in and said, he brought pavement. The streets of heaven are paved in gold. That gold that was so important to this guy, that this guy thought his life would be nothing without it, is actually pavement in heaven. It's like bringing interlocking. I don't know if I'm making sense. Jiga, we're looking for you. You're too busy for us. We're trading Forex, Abby. Some people were complaining. Said, Jiga, leave Forex and come to church. I don't know if I'm making sense to you. So what is important to us are the big little things. How important are they to God? How important are they to His purpose for us? There are some things we rate very high. Does God rate them very high? I'm opening my Bible. Somebody is saying abortion is wrong. Abba, keep quiet. It's the big little things. I want to read a story for you. Sorry. Come, this. Sorry, where's Fab Momo 4? Nobody has seen Fab Momo 4 in a long time. Oh. Let's go to the book of Hosea, chapter 1, and I'm reading from verse 2. Hosea chapter 1, verse 2. I'm reading it to you. The Lord gave this message to Hosea, son of Beeri, during the years when Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah were kings of Judah, and Jeroboam, son of Jehoash, was king of Israel. When the Lord first began speaking to Israel through Hosea, he said to him, "Go and marry a prostitute, so that some of her children will be conceived in prostitution. This will illustrate how Israel has acted like a prostitute by turning against God and worshiping other gods." If there were no prostitutes, where would Hosea have seen a wife? I'm just asking you. If there were no prostitutes, where would Hosea have seen a wife? I'm asking. You see, the more we try to use our understanding, I keep saying this, to understand God, the more confused we are and the more we end up worshiping ourselves or our inventions. We will always go to those gods that seemingly speak. I don't know if I'm making sense to you. So if God, this is prostitution is one. If you hear a woman is a prostitute, you understand? If you hear that a woman is a prostitute, just imagine that a woman is a prostitute. What's the first thing that will come to your mind? She's dirty, she's sinful, she's wicked, she's horrible. God had a purpose for a prostitute in Israel. That is how God reasons. Rahab was what again? You see, there are some things that matter to human beings that don't matter to God. I'm trying to go somewhere with this. Trying to go somewhere. Another very important thing to human beings that are unimportant to God but seem so very important to us is marriage. Jeremiah the prophet was not married. Paul was not married. Jesus himself was not married. John the Baptist was not married. These are people who formed what we have today as our faith. So why all of a sudden have we made marriage a do or die affair? At least there's no evidence of Jesus being married. And the Bible says, Paul said, in the Bible that I'm imitating Jesus and you must imitate me. If we're imitating Jesus through Paul, somebody said the word tradition. I've been waiting I didn't want to put that word in your mouth. I wanted you to say it. Traditions of men. And because to us, to an Igbo man, a girl, and to a Yoruba man too, a girl of 35 that is unmarried is worthless, no matter how rich she is. It's not Christianity. It's our traditions, the traditions of men. And the Bible has said that we have departed from the teachings of God and we have moved into the traditions of men. I don't know if I'm making sense to you. That is why we take things like abortion and all of a sudden it means so much, it's so important, you go to hell if you commit an abortion, blah, 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 blah. David was an adulterer and a murderer. Did that stop him from doing his work for God? Moses was a murderer who married an Ethiopian woman to the point where his brother and sister complained that, this thing that Moses did is bad. What did God do? God struck the sister with leprosy. Not because what Moses did was right, but because Moses was working for God, and what Aaron and Miriam saw were the big little things, the irrelevant things. We don't think anymore. We think through a Christianity that has been taught to flatheads by flatheads. This is not the Christianity taught to us by a God of a greater dimension. A flathead that sees an apple that as a set of lines and dots has tried to force you to understand life as lines and dots, whereas apple is not line and is not dot. I'm going to read some of the comments. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to open your mind to see that we've been lost for a long time. When I was younger, I had a girlfriend who once got pregnant, and I wasn't ready. She wasn't ready. What did we do? Went to see the doctor. I probably felt about it bad that day. I met her 15 years ago in America, not in America, somewhere in Europe. And we had a conversation, and I raised it to see. It's gone. Will I do it today? No. Do I feel bad about it? No. I've tried to prod my conscience to make me feel that maybe I'm the one that has a problem. I should feel bad about it. Is it murder? No, it was not. She missed a period the first month. My conscience never prodded me. I never felt bad about it in any way. I tried to. Okay, it doesn't add up. And once I had a conversation with my dad, who doesn't share my belief system. And you know what my dad said? My dad said, "You did the right thing." He didn't say it in those words. He said it cleverly. My dad is very wise, by the way. And he said, there is nothing worse than bringing a child into poverty. If you love a child, you will not raise that child in poverty. You know you are in poverty. That God will provide mentality. You are in poverty. You are going to bring, I have seen children that have died of hunger. I grew up in the hood. I have seen children that they brought to the hospital with typhoid, and they gave them a bill of 1K, and the parents could not raise 1K, and they took the child home and went to give the child agbo, and 1 week later they brought the child back with perforated intestines, and my dad couldn't handle the case anymore. He had to transfer it to the hospital. Some survived, some didn't. That is what poverty does. Many of you are in faraway countries where your society sometimes chips in for you. They send you a bottle of milk, they send you toys for the baby. You don't want to be in Arimo Ibadan and have an unwanted child. There was a child I knew, as of that time, they used to give him 20 kobo. This was in 2002. What is kobo? What did you expect him to do with kobo? And that was what he was supposed to eat with. I don't know if I'm making sense. I do not subscribe if you get a woman pregnant, you have to take it. I will not even want to hear abortion. But it ministered to me. Now, somebody said, did David not rape Bathsheba, and did she? A king raping you and an armed robber raping you. You see, let me tell you something. David was the equivalent of, let me say, Bill Gates. Everybody loved him. He was the king, the man after God's heart. Even say he raped you as David, it's still painful. This is not an armed robber, a murderer. I don't know how many people he has killed. And he comes to rape you. And you are forced to have that child. You see, what we've been taught as Christianity, I tried to teach it yesterday. You see, love is not unconditional. There's a condition. You have to have love. That's why VC, this for you, VC. VC said if you love somebody, you will not commit. First of all, abortion before 3 months is not murder. It's not a child. It's like, hold on, all of you that drank Postino after having sex, you're also murderers now. All of you, plus married couple. All of you that inserted coil inside your wife so she will not get pregnant. Are you not killing your seeds? Is that also not murder? How is it different from a 1 week old abortion, pregnancy? All of you that are using condom, are you not killing your children? I'm Kuku asking you, let us talk candidly. Life does not start at you see, let's read something there's something I want to share with you from our Muslim brothers and sisters. They are a bit deeper than us. We just have all these belief systems that we got. Life starts at conception. Who told you life starts at conception? Let me read it to you. Just hang on a second. I sent it to myself as an email. There's what you call, there is, God bless you, Jigger. It's not murder when it's not up to 3 months. There's what you call the ensoulment. A soul has not entered the fetus until about 3 months. The Muslims understand this. Unfortunately, we have more sense than, where is this thing going? And I sent it to myself as an email. I'm waiting for it to load. Life starts at birth. Now, it is dangerous after 3 months for any reason to have an abortion. It's dangerous. You see, there are some things that you know that this one is the hand of God. I've known women that were pregnant for 7 months and they did not know they were pregnant. There's one of my aunties, she naturally had a big tummy. So when there was baby inside, and the baby did not worry her, so she didn't have swollen legs, she just noticed that she was a bit tired. I don't know if I'm making sense to you. When she discovered that she was pregnant at 7 months, the baby was already advanced. We just saw her one day going to the hospital, nobody understood. Now, imagine the armed robber slept with the child, the 17-year-old girl, and she didn't know she was pregnant for 7 months. And then at the 7 months, she realized she's pregnant. She can't have an abortion. There's no other choice. She has to have that baby. Somebody said the baby starts breathing at 1 month. There's a concept of ensoulment. It's not coming out. I had a whole article on it, so let me just Google it again. I wrote it to myself and sent it. I don't know what's wrong with all these gadgets. Ensoulment, you know. In religion, ensoulment is the moment at which a human being gains a soul. Okay? Now, I want to there's an article on ensoulment in Islam I got from the Oxford, there's some Oxford, I emailed it to myself to share with you guys, but I don't know why I can't find it. And I kept trying to send it to myself, but it just wasn't going. So I said, okay, let me email it to myself. Okay, I found it. Oxford Islamic Studies. And it has something to do with abortion. So I'm going to show it to the YouTube people. You can go check it out by yourself. Let's look at it together. Okay? Many Muslim jurists uniformly hold abortion to be blameworthy, but permissible under certain conditions. Ensoulment of the fetus is understood to occur 120 days after conception. After ensoulment, abortion constitutes homicide and requires a judicial punishment. The 4 Sunni schools of law provide certain rights to the ensouled fetus. The right to be born and live as God permits, a right to inheritance, and a right to burial. When a pregnant woman dies, the Shafi tradition mandates that the unborn child be removed in an attempt to save the life. If a pregnant woman is condemned to die, the death sentence must be postponed until after she has given birth. An unborn child cannot inherit while in the womb. The inheritance is held until after the birth. Miscarried and stillborn children are still given a name, placed in a white cloth, and buried because of this ensoulment. We, on the other hand, as Christians, do not have such deep teachings with regards to things like abortion. So we tend to use our human mind, our flathead mind, to try to pull God into something he has no business in. It is your decision. It's entirely the decision of the raped woman. There's no church there. There's no God there. It is your decision. What do you want to do? If the woman says, this is a 17-year-old girl that was raped by armed robbers. If the 17-year-old girl says, you know what, I want to have this baby, 100% you support her. She wants to have the baby. She's made up her mind to have the baby, and she's going to go through it. But if, heaven forbid, she says she doesn't want to have the baby, which is this case. Let me read the story for you from Linda Ikeji. Okay, I'm trying to get the story, so I'll read it to you. 17-year-old girl, pregnant, after raped by armed robbers. Her mother and church refused to consent to abortion. A Port Harcourt-based Twitter user shared the story seeking for advice on how best to help the young girl legally. Now let's read. Armed robbers attacked a home 2 months ago. A 17-year-old girl was raped and now she's pregnant. She just got admission into the university. She wants to have an abortion, but her mom and home cell people have refused. I think the family and the church do not have a right. It's not God's business. If it was God's business, he would have talked about it. It is not murder because ensoulment hasn't occurred. The fetus doesn't have a soul. Other religions see it. We don't. So we just bring, somebody says it's a gray area. This particular one is not a gray area. It is not a gray area. It is yes or no, clear. Does she want it? No, she doesn't want it. Get it out. I can't, anything else I teach you, I'm a hypocrite. Because if I was in that position, that's what I'll do. This is not a 17-year-old boy gets his 17-year-old girlfriend pregnant because they've been fornicating. They now want to have an abortion. They will have that child. But do you know what it is like to be raped by an armed robber? I know a lady, a Yoruba girl. She killed somebody. I'll tell you her story. She was driving on the Lagos-Ibadan expressway. And she was driving behind her boyfriend then. Her boyfriend was driving in a car. They were coming. Armed robbers. You see, armed robbers just jumped out of the bush. Her boyfriend had passed. They just jumped out in front of her. The first thing that occurred to her was, shit, I'm going to be raped. There's nothing she fears more in her life than rape. She drove to the armed robbers, hit one of them, and climbed in with her car and continued driving. As she was driving, she was looking in the rear view mirror, seeing his body, crushed and lifeless. The car that followed her immediately climbed the armed robber too. The day she was telling me the story, she was giving me the gist, as if it was a movie. Did she feel bad about it? No. Did I feel bad about it? No. I do not believe that someone that comes to shoot you, to kill you, and to rape you has a right. Maybe in other countries, me, I don't believe it. Of course, I do not support jungle justice. God forbid. And I'll never advocate it. If you catch an armed robber, take him to the police station. But that armed robber gives you belly, the picking has right. I don't agree. If God really wanted it to be that way, then God will let that child go to the point where ensoulment has happened, to the point where it is dangerous to the woman's life to have an abortion. Then she must have it. Then we know it is the hand of God. But at 2 months, please. And what's the most important thing in this all? She doesn't want to have an armed robber's child. She doesn't want it. She doesn't want it. Do you know what the trauma is? Somebody said if she has some guy, a good friend of mine that I respect very much, sent me a text message yesterday night that the abortion could traumatize her even further. I say, man, people get very strong conscience. So you abort armed robber picking, can't they worry you? You try. Maybe because I grew up in the hood, maybe there are some things that I've erased from my mind. Maybe because I've seen too many hard things in my life. An unensouled fetus of an armed robber is now, if you read what if the girl dies during the abortion? The girl cannot die during an abortion. If it's done by a quack, she could die. In Nigeria, I'm not sure legally there is any case for abortion, which is wicked. That I consider wicked. You can't force it. You guys, especially you guys, first of all the guys on this channel should first shut up. Anybody that is saying she has no right, just shut up. You are not a woman. Have you carried a pregnancy before? Then all the women that have never carried a pregnancy, all of you to shut up. If you have never carried a pregnancy to term before, shut up. The only people allowed to counter me are women who have carried a pregnancy to term and believe that she can have an abortion. She cannot have an abortion. I will debate with you. I will not debate with a man. Are you the one carrying the baby? Do you know what it takes for a woman? Do you know what it will rob her of? Are you thinking at all? It will rob her of her life. It will rob her of her career. I was telling you guys the other day, one day we gathered the children and we said we wanted to have another baby. They carried placard. They demonstrated. They said, lie, because of what they saw us go through and what they also go through. Pekin, there is a nanny only for that boy. You can hear him shouting from downstairs. Only him, one nanny. Do you know how it affected taste buds? Emotionally, physically. This is a child. She has a man that is sitting beside her every day telling her, baby, I love you, baby, I love you, it's going to be all right, it's going to be all right, baby, I love you, baby, I love you, it's going to be all right. And still, then a man now says she has no right. Shut. If you say that thing again, if you enter this phone, slap you. Let a woman who has had a baby before and has gone through 9 months of pregnancy, let her tell me that. And I'll talk to her like a human being. Any man that opens his mouth here to talk, I will tell you to shut up. No. Because a man just sits down and says this. You see, we like to do, we carry, you know what umpire is? Referee. You don't see referee for Ludo. Say people they play Ludo, they can't get referee. Game when no get referee, we must always put referee there. I don't understand how our brain they work. Archbishop said a 17-year-old is still a minor and should be subjected to parents' decision. Secondly, abortion is murder no matter how old. Archbishop, shut up. Shut that mouth of yours. Or that finger that I used to type. Let it not break this afternoon because I'm angry with you. So a 17-year-old that was, first of all, she's raped by an armed robber. It's not like it must be subjected to her parents. The kind of person where I go give all of us go drink poison. Plus the parents will tell me, plus me. I know well like that too. See him deciding murder is murder no matter how old. So that means your sperm that you are killing inside condom, that one is murder too. At least God struck somebody dead for withdrawal method inside Bible. You want me to read it to you? Because he did not want the woman to have his seed. He spilled his seed to the ground and God struck him dead. So that withdrawal method where they do now murder is murder of sperm. And you will tell me now that you don't have sex, you are celibate. When you sleep at night and you have emissions, since those sperms do not fertilize, you are a murderer. Bishop the murderer. Somebody said the 17-year-old should commit murder and see whether the 17-year-old will not go to prison. Thank you, Jerry, people that have sense. BJ is murder. All of you that do BJ, you have committed murder now. If we want to all be thinking like as if we have sent our sense on errand. Okay, sperm alone cannot give life. It needs both man and woman to beget life. Okay, when you've had sex and you drink postinol, you are a murderer. I've answered your question. When you have had sex and you drink postinol, you are a what? A murderer. I need the Bible verse for withdrawal method. It's in the book of Genesis. Let me get it for you real quick. Genesis chapter 38 verse 9. But Onan was not willing to have a child who will not be his own. So whenever he had intercourse with his brother's wife, he spilled the semen on the ground. This prevented her from having a child who will belong to his brother. Let's read it in Greek. Where's my Greek Bible? Okay, this part of the Bible is in Hebrew, so let's read it in the Hebrew translation. Oh my goodness, this thing is not working today. You know what? My Hebrew Bible is not loading. I'm so sorry. Let me just read it in King James. That's the closest. Sorry, what's wrong with this thing? Why is my King James? Yes, I found it. So let's read it in King James. And Onan knew that his seed should not be his. And it came to pass when he went in unto his brother's wife, that he spilled it on the ground, lest he should give seed to his brother. And the thing which he did displease the Lord, therefore he slew him also. So abortion has nothing to do with Christianity. You can tie a boyfriend and a girlfriend fornicating and getting pregnant. That abortion now can come as a consequence of fornication and having the child. I can understand that. But a 17-year-old raped by an armed robber? If doctor no, if na my pikin, God forbid, if na my pikin, doctor no, na me go do am by myself. As long as the pikin say you no want am. Why would I? You see, why do you people see women as vessels to carry children? I think some of those, like that bishop guy, they should cut his stomach open and put a child inside and let him carry it for 9 months. Then when he's done, he should, whether he will think like that again. I don't, as in, women to some people are just like an oven. You put the flour inside and a cake comes out. You put the pig inside and a pork roast comes out. Man, think, guys. So please, there's nowhere in the Bible that you can use to justify having a child. You see, if God wants it to be, you will not be able to have the abortion. Someone is saying, why did God struck Onan dead after spilling the sperm? Are you afraid because you are spilling your own sperm every night? You think God will strike you? Don't worry, it's not like that. So please, let's show some love and some respect for women. They own their bodies. Don't put a 17-year-old. Another thing is, if the parents are not so stupid, parents like that should not even be allowed to raise children in the first place. Armed robber rape your pikin. No be hospital supposed to carry and go. No be you supposed to give am postinol first. I'm asking you. No be you supposed to first rush and go hospital. I believe the story is actually fictitious. No sane parent would allow that. You have to be very stupid to allow your 17-year-old daughter, especially when she just got. Do you know how hard it is to get admission to the university? So she will now not go to the university. She'll sit at home and have baby for 2 years. You know the kind of depression. Let me tell you, do you remember those girls that got pregnant when we were in school and had the babies? Do you know the kind of depression that followed them? They got pregnant for boyfriend, though. And you're now telling me somebody that got pregnant for armed robber should have the baby. You are wicked. As in, you are the kind of wicked that deserves slap. Please, 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 any woman that was raped by anybody, whether it's armed robber or thug or landlord's son or whoever it is, you have a right to an abortion. If you don't want to have the baby, find a way of getting it out. Go to a country where you can get an abortion. I don't know how you're going to do whatever it is you're going to do, but just, you're a human being and you deserve to have a choice in your life. God bless you all.